Some people think that Trump is the false prophet. Others think he is a kind of messiah. Or like they compare him to Cyrus, the liberator of the Jewish people. This comparison of Donald Trump with Cyrus is much more coherent because there are really truths in that. So what Donald Trump did is just in the eyes of God. He is being an instrument used by God. He is not a false prophet. What he is saying puts his life at risk. God does this so that the whole world doesn't become corrupt before the moment. In other words, the gospel needs to be preached. It needs to be spread. If the far left dominates everything, as it was dominating the United States and dominates in Brazil, it becomes difficult for us to preach the word. This issue of left and right needs to be explained in detail for us, because there are people who think that the right on earth is from God, and that the left is from the devil, that the right always does good, and the left always does evil. Things aren't quite that simple. You have to study to understand better. Of course, the right is more just than the left, but in the end, when things start to narrow down, moving towards the end, both the right and the left will become corrupt. They will become the silver arms connected to the same silver chest, governed by the same head of gold. But God needs to work with these two angles. He sometimes needs to let the left prevail so that sin increases, things get more expensive, men become more wicked, and man becomes harder. And then the church, understanding this, starts to cry out to God. So God removes the left, lets the right come back so we can have a time of refreshment. The right is more connected with the beast of the earth, while the left is connected with the beast of the sea. The beast of the sea is against everything that is said. God, against the whole gospel. She wants to ban the gospel. Basically, what are we seeing in Brazil? With Lula and Alexandre de Moraes, that's extreme. The left, they don't want anything to do with the word of God. Now the right allows the gospel to be preached, but the gospel starts to become corrupted, turning into an idolatrous gospel like it was during Bolsonaro's time. I'm using Brazil as an example, but this is global. This is a biblical testimony. So you see, the right allows the gospel to be preached. The false prophets will gather because that's where the word is being preached. Satan sends false prophets, and God allows it to test his people. But the gospel is being preached. When the gospel is prohibited, there are problems because men become corrupt. But he reveals to us that neither the left nor the right of the earth are part of it, as if he were on the right side. God's right side, which is the right one. So Isaiah 30, for example, you will read prophecies where the people are saying that they don't want to hear the word of God. The people speak to the false prophets. Prophesy to us what is false. Don't speak to us true and just words. So the prophet Isaiah prophesies that the people should not go to the left or to the right. It's to go on the straight path. And God will place watchmen, prophets before the people saying, hey, this is not the way. Follow the straight path. This is what we need to understand. And these words are hidden in the words of the prophets. What I'm trying to say is Donald Trump is not a false prophet. God knows. Looking at the world and seeing that it's doing just things, he is receiving a certain inspiration from God for this purpose. It's not random, these things. Trump is serving the United States, but God is using him because he has a more just heart than the other kings of the earth. We need to have spiritual intelligence to discern this and not place our hope, neither in Bolsonaro, nor in Trump, nor in the right, because they won't bring a solution to the world. In fact, the prophecies say that the United States will fall because the other nations of the world will unite against the United States. Do you think that Russia and China, listening to Trump's statements, what he's saying, are just going to stay quiet? They want to dominate the world. Just like Donald Trump also has the ambition to make the United States the greatest country in the world. The United States may be the greatest world power for some, but for others, it no longer is. There's China, which is on the rise. In fact, it has already surpassed the United States in many aspects of geopolitics. Then there's Russia and the countries in the Middle East, which the prophecies say will rise to maximum power. They will use the United States, Russia, China, and any other nation as a ladder to climb the steps. They are the ones who will come to power. So the prophecies show this to us.